Spook.
Yes.
We haven't had a guest for a while.
But what about the bear? Where did you come from?
Hi guys. I think I've done a hammy.
It's the chief.
Oh, it's not just one hammy, is it?
I think I've done a hammy here.
Moon's over my hammy.
Oh. Welcome to Collingwood Rant. I am Sly.
And I'm Spook.
And I am the chief.
We're about to review the Collingwood-Carlton game played in front of a stunning 53,000 at the MCG on Sunday.
Huge crowd.
Give or take 47,000.
So, Spook, what did you think of the game against our ancient enemy, the evil Carlton Empire?
Ugly, dirty, filthy. But we got 4 points and we won.
Anybody would have thought you reversed that. Chief.
Yeah, I'm glad to get the 4 points. As the coaches say, it was a poor game, but happy with 4 points.
Both coaches say that? Or just
Yeah,
Buckley?
both said
I
that.
wrote it on post-it notes.
Yeah.
And stuck it on the desk.
I think it was a typical game of a team coming off a bye. It's not unusual when you come off a bye to be sluggish. Carlton, after their terrible effort last week against Fremantle, where they hadn't kicked the goal up to half-time, they got booed off. Always going to come out spirited, and typically playing against Collingwood, you know, everyone lifts. Everyone's grand final for some reason still. You'd think that would be Hawthorn by now, but it's still us apparently. So I thought this was pretty much, went to the script that you always thought it would go to, just because of the circumstances. Carlton threw numbers back. We were really, really scrappy. Mm-hmm. And a lot of players had quiet games or, you know, weren't that great with their ball usage.
Nah, skills were deplorable. But, yeah.
Part of it was the pressure Carlton put on and the numbers they pushed back.
I think a lot of the passages of play weren't really under pressure, though. They were just poorly executed and by foot.
In the first 15 minutes, I thought the ball was flat. We were kicking it that badly. And under not a lot of pressure, it was just like when we were moving and people were kicking it low or on the inside of their boot and shit like that.
But it just looked like post by flatness.
Yeah.
I think I made a comment to you, actually, in Messenger, that it looked like they were clearing the cobwebs out a little bit in the second quarter, but then they sort of reverted back to form again. So it was like they never really got into... They were stuck in second, jumped into third, but never really got into fourth gear. And we still won.
Yep.
And we actually don't start very well all year. We haven't started very well all year, so...
We started well against, like...
One or two games. We've seen...
No, you said all year. You can't take it back.
I can.
It's there. No.
So, we don't start very well, usually. Is that better?
I don't know.
Is that more accurate in this?
I was saying the Spook, though. It seems like for games against Essendon and Adelaide and Melbourne, against teams who are more highly rated, we seem better prepared. We seem to come out switched on. Against the worst teams like Carlton, Fremantle.
Did you mention Carlton?
Bulldogs.
Carlton.
And those sort of teams, we really started slow and had to work, overhaul them. So I wonder if mentally just we're not totally switched on from the beginning. And sometimes I just think maybe it's because you've seen we've had this shifting forward line the whole year. So I think sometimes it's just we're shifting until we find something that works. So that's sometimes maybe why we need to actually work our way into a game.
And I think Carlton set themselves up beautifully to counter that early too. They just, as you said before, they pushed a lot of numbers back behind the ball, flooded the forward line. It stopped us from kicking to targets, so we just reverted back to our natural bomb, which isn't that difficult to make.
Well, that was really disappointing.
And they really ran hard. And I said to you during the game, it's hard to see them actually sustaining that for 4 quarters before they start knackering themselves. But it worked effectively. It really broke our structures down. Our ball use and ball movement was really stuttering all over the place. They really shut us down reasonably well.
They also tried to keep a lot of the possession as they were coming out. So a lot of chip passes to keep that possession, but they're not good enough to keep it for long enough.
No, I said,
so
a good side would have killed us with that tactic.
Yeah.
But fortunately, their ball use was worse than ours at times.
I think it'd be interesting how Carlton face the next month too, because they've been...
they're broken.
Yeah. They've been really poor.
They'll push out. They'll push out hard next month.
How much do you love them? You dressed them?
I'm actually... Because last week they were terrible. And they have been pretty average for a little while, and the pressure's been building, and the club's going, we're dedicated to this rebuild and all that sort of stuff. You look at last week, they were really appalling. To lose to Fremantle, who's a similarly aged team, here in Victoria, and to be goalless at half-time, that is about as bad an effort as you could probably get. So they obviously lifted for us. They really set themselves. Someone's probably said in the playing squad, maybe Dale Thomas, has said, let's fucking upset them today. Let's get it stuck in their heads and all that sort of shit. So I don't know if they're going to maintain that for the whole season, or let alone
No.
It's effort. They put in effort this week, and they're not
anyway,
quite
we're
skillful
sort of moving
enough.
away from Collingwood. A lot of Collingwood players are quiet. We had a handful of good players like Pendlebury. Grundy was fantastic.
To go in for the bulk of his game was excellent.
Howe was really good.
Second half.
Yep. Same with Trelaw. Sidebottom was right. Actually, again, I didn't say it. It's like the thing that annoys me with Sidebottom is a lot of times he'll get the ball, he'll be like he's going to be proactive, he'll take a step forward, he'll realise he's trapped himself, and he'll do a little loop, a little U-turn, and then he'll kick it 20 metres sideways. And people don't really call him up on that. And as at Collingwood, one players are going to take the game on. So if you're going to move to go, then you should actually have some commitment.
We needed
to
it for
action.
this game because they had so many people pushing behind the ball. We needed to move it a lot quicker. We moved it too slow and allowed Carlton to get their
Similarly
players back.
Chris Mayne's another one. He's been doing well the last month, but Jesus, he needs to learn to go because he still feels like he's just sort of going.
I'm
got
one
the
mistake
ball
away from being dropped.
Yeah, here you go, and like this guy's 1 foot away. It's just like at a certain point, every player needs to have that capacity to go. You know what? I'm going for it. And you can't always be safe. And I reckon someone like Brett McCaff is a really good example. If you go back to that 2009 final against Adelaide, remember when he streamed down the wing and he kicked that 50-metre goal that rolled in? Fantastic. He took the initiative. But after about 2010, he seemed to have lost that daring. And
It's after he did his knee or whatever it was.
I think it was a lot more because Cracker came in and took his spot. And then he really felt like, oh, geez, if I get back in, I can't afford to lose this spot. So he started playing a bit more safer. And obviously, at times, you're going to have to play safe. But at times, if it's your turn to go, you need to learn to go.
I just want to... I don't pop players, but I'll make an exception. Tom Phillips, I think he finished with about 29 possessions. When did he stop being good? He's really been lacklustre the last couple of weeks.
Since they had the stories on him in the papers, so the last couple of weeks.
The ball by foot a number of times terribly.
In fairness, though, in this game, he did burn it a lot, but a lot of players did. Against Melbourne, they actually tagged him with Brayshaw, which I thought was amazing. And he had like Trelaw, Pendlebury, Adams, DeGoey there, and you're tagging Tom Phillips out of that midfield. I think that was like a great win for us. So, I mean, Brayshaw obviously did his job and quieted Phillips, but didn't, DeGoey got loose.
Oh, look, he's still a kid, essentially. I mean, you can be harsh too quickly, but geez,
a couple of down ones.
I want more of the best of Phillips, not what he's doing at the moment. He's accumulating, and numbers don't always mean anything. But get back to what you were doing, please. If you don't mind, if it's no trouble.
I mean, he's behaving like a TV set. He thinks he can just switch it on and off. Anyway, so we're wasteful going forward inside 50. We just reverted back to bombing, lost that composure.
It was like Dresden there for a moment.
And I know they can't push back numbers, but geez, sometimes show a little bit of patience. But overall, we won. And that's what we've got to look forward to.
Winning ugly is a sign of a good side.
Winning ugly, they stayed in the game a lot, but there was a few dodgy free kicks in that scenario. Curnow got pushed Howe in the back.
Massively pushed.
Yeah, massively pushed in the back. Cripps got a free with, Cripps was right in there, got a bodgy mark. So there's a few goals there that really shouldn't have been goals, straight out in front. So that kept them a lot in the game and then gave them that bit extra.
And I think too was also inaccuracy.
Yeah, and we kicked badly in the second and third quarters.
If you kicked a couple more, if you broke that lead up to like 24 plus, Carlton might have said, well, we tried and that was it.
They picked. Yeah, that's the thing. They picked us back a couple of times. They got their nose in front in the
third
quarter.
And again, that's great. I mean,
that was a couple of bodgy free
from memory. Brisbane did that also. 6 weeks ago, whatever it was, and Collingwood the last couple of years probably would have capitulated. So credit to us that we actually
steadied quickly. It wasn't they didn't stay there for very long.
Dale Thomas, that is as petulant a game as I've seen. You're just getting stuck into Cox and seem to be making a lot of trouble. I heard Eddie Maguire, what station's he on? Triple M?
Dribble M.
Dribble M. He was talking to Cox after the game and saying, what was Daisy saying to you? And Coxie was saying, who? And he was going, Daisy. And then Cox was going, who? And Daisy was going, he was pulling your jumper and all that. And then Coxie said, oh, number 39. And
The midget.
Everyone's a midget for Coxie.
And Eddie Maguire...
There's a gnat on the end of my boot.
And Eddie Maguire goes, he's a premiership hero of Collingwood. And Cox just didn't know who he was. And he goes, on the field, Coxie was asking, who are you, who are you? Eddie Maguire also said at half-time, Daisy gave Buckley a massive spray.
Was it Rexona?
Talking about stink.
Those leagues.
I'm really sort of getting tired of these players who've left Collingwood who are just taking pot shots at the club, you know, and Daisy's someone I've defended. Yeah, ever since he's left Collingwood, I've had Carlton friends who've condemned him, said he's terrible and all that, and I've defended him. I've said, you know, geez, you don't know how good this guy was. Really loved him as a player at Collingwood, but that effort on Sunday was a shitful of effort as I've seen, and like I reckon a lot of Collingwood people who similarly would have defended him would have just jumped off and said, fuck you. You know?
Yeah, it was a Suki Lala effort. That's basically what it was. And he hasn't played like that against Collingwood in other games. I don't know what happened in this one, but yeah, he was...
He's become an old player. All my weapons have left me sniper.
Well, it really...
A bit like that ex-Hawthorn bloke who went up to Brisbane. What's his name?
Dennis
LH.
Chris Fagan.
Yeah, Fagan, that's him.
But that just fucking annoys me because I understand, like, apparently there's a cultural issue at Collingwood and Buckley sort of pushed certain players out. But if you look at that rat pack who existed in Malthouse's time, which was Swan, Didak, Heater, Daisy, you know, Wellingham was there. Buckley challenged him, and the one guy who stayed was, Dane Swan.
And he was a cripple at the end of it.
Yeah. Well, that's the Collingwood. We'll talk about that later. But he stayed, and he pulled his head in. He did what he was asked. These other guys
pulled his ankle in too. I think it ended up in his groin.
These other guys who have left and just, you know, have this attitude of, I don't know, it's fucking basically malevolence toward the club. It's just like, it really annoys me, you know. Another thing I need to mention, how bad was the call? Anthony Hudson and Gary Lyon.
Oh, huge. It was a shocker. They just wanted Carlton to win. Every call, every umpire's call, everything was just Carlton. And I don't know what it was or why it was, but
that was as sickeningly prejudiced a call as I've heard. Anthony Hudson in particular was really bad. You know, it made me just want to, you know, turn the volume off and just fucking watch it mute. Seriously, if that's what you consider professional commentating, and whoever's employed them should really reconsider, because that's terrible. Any thoughts, Spook?
No. We won.
Any final thoughts on the game?
Oh, you want thoughts on Gary
No,
Lyon?
we won. No, that's basically it. No, we won 4 points.
Gary Lyon's
got one eyebrow.
Yeah. He's a, can I say prick? If I didn't say it in context.
You know what he reminds me of, Gary Lyon? He reminds me of the villains in the Thunderbirds and the Pilots.
The Hood.
In the puppet one. Yeah. You know, he reminds me of those. So he's got the big eyebrows and...
He's obviously got very good contacts because of what happened after the footy show and
but
what
it's
he
a
did with Brodie Boundless's wife and all the rest of it. And the fact that he's basically in the same position now and he's got all those gigs back. He obviously has a lot of friends in media and he got
he had depression.
All those things.
And as someone who suffered depression, for people to actually pull that as an excuse, fucking it seriously appalls me. It appalls me that you can behave terribly and then just go, I was depressed, and then you just take a 6-month hiatus until the heat dies down, and then you just go back and
I'm much better now.
Yeah.
I've got good friends that give me another job.
This is the quality of his commentary. At one stage there, and I may paraphrase this wrong, he cited Carlton against Hawthorn with all their premierships they've won recently, because Hawthorn apparently built those flags on the back of Franklin and Roughhead, and because of Curnow and Cripps, good players, they're apparently parallel with Hawthorn in terms of potential.
You realise...
You know, you've got to have 16 other blokes on the
just
ground
Franklin and Roughhead,
and 4 sitting on the side that are fucking good as well.
Do you realise in Hawthorn's three-peat, Franklin was only there for the first one. He wasn't there for the next two.
I don't think Gary bothers with the facts. I think
it's a good story, and this is because of what I say.
Just reach around as your mouth's moving and pluck a bit of matter out, and you insert it into the commentary box at the back here, and the shit just spews out. Assuming it was shit, of course.
It dribbles out. Yeah.
It could have been mucus.
Anyway, so that's our match review. We'll be back with Media Mephitic. So welcome to Media Mephitic, where we look at Collingwood in the media.
Oh, good.
Unfortunately, I caught sliding doors on the AFL website. This is an if-then scenario. So
You're obsessed with this website.
I am obsessed with how badly written this is.
Me, he's on it on the laptop here. Get off! Go away, sliding doors.
So Damien Barrett said, if Pies are the real deal, and in brackets, and we're pretty sure they are, they will beat the Blues by 15 goals. So I actually went through Carlton season to see who else was beaten by 15 goals. Only one team. Melbourne's beaten by 109 points. Richmond only won by 26 points. So Richmond, you're no longer the real deal. West Coast by 10 points. You're out. North by 86 points. You couldn't even get that 4 more points. You're out. Adelaide by 55. Geelong by 28. Sydney by 30. This sort of fucking shit, this Collingwood hating that permeates the media really sickens me. You know, it's like, here's a compliment, but I'm going to qualify it. And if you can't actually meet that qualification, then the onus is on you, not me. No, it's on you because you set the standard here and said, well, if they're good, they will reach that standard. It's fucking just do something worthwhile with your life. Actually go research a story or something.
Hang on a second, let me just check my give a fuckometer about Damien Barrett. Needle's not moving.
That is actually a terrible.
It's still not moving.
If not whatever
space
it
on
is,
blank.
sliding doors. It's stupid. They just pick any stupid thing. If someone had a milkshake at lunchtime, then they would get 40 possessions of the game.
There's no causality in what he's writing. It's nothing logical in what he's writing. It's just ridiculous. Two random statements formatted in this way to actually make it seem there's some.
I can't have this. He's the best newsbroker in the business. I'm repetitively told.
By who? Him?
I think he writes his own copy. Yeah.
I think he broke the news that he's the best newsbreaker. Tim Watson rates Collingwood premiership contenders.
I agree. We liked him.
I liked him. No, I actually liked him. He's outspoken. He's straightforward.
Tim.
Okay, Scharenberg, Aish, and the Brown brothers.
I like their Riesling.
But Scharenberg, Aish, and the Brown brothers resigned. No, hang on. Sorry, they resigned.
You told me.
Sorry, they resigned.
Get them back.
So they resigned, which is good news. Buckley talked about the chemistry of the playing group, along with a more experienced core coming up, being behind the rise up the ladder.
I would have thought winning games would have been behind the rise up the ladder.
That sounds logical, or whatever you just said.
Yep. Mick Malthouse, former Collingwood coach, premiership coach. Pilloried, Gary Pert getting a job at Melbourne.
When you say pilloried, what did he say?
He said, I pilloried that.
Did he say pilloried? He pilloried.
I pilloried him.
I pillory you, Pert. I pillory the fool. I pillory the fool.
I hit him with a pillar.
He just sort of implied that Pert wasn't liked at Collingwood and he wasn't very good, and how's he getting another job so soon and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I believe a lot of the staff called him Gary Spurt. So, obviously they just couldn't take him seriously.
David King, on an article dated the 5th of April, this is before the previous Collingwood-Carlton clash.
What year?
2018.
Good, we're on the same page now.
King believes that teams need 4 game changes to be a good team. He's rated Collingwood as Pendle, Sidey and Grundy, with Treloar and Howe just behind, and Carlton's as Cripps, Kerno and Doherty.
2 of 3. I get Cripps and Kerno. I don't get Doherty.
Who's the fourth, David?
I don't know how you rate Doherty at the moment, given he's out for the whole season from the injury, and you don't know how he's going to.
And I don't know how you rate Doherty better than Treloar, which is
that's true.
Which is why I don't know where you get that.
They're now both injured.
So they're rated equal.
Yeah.
Well, there's better degrees of injury.
So over the past 3 drafts, Collingwood has had 1 pick inside 30 to Carlton's 8. That happens when you're shit, though, David. They've been at the bottom for a while there.
Consistently shit.
Yep. And I don't know. I mean, you got to look at like some of those deals Sauce has done with GWS, where he's basically offloaded pick 158 and then got him 4 GWS players in return.
Part of they've had it, but a Treloar, what would he rank? Because that was traded in. So you got to think of those. What would you trade in as a high draft pick?
Yeah, but the thing is, like guys like I think Jed Lamb was a first round pick, or
no, but I'm saying Treloar was we gave 2 first round draft picks for Treloar. So you're saying, all right, we've had
one for each hamstring.
But they're saying the comparison doesn't quite work because we traded first rounders for what is a first rounder anyway?
No, I don't know. He said in 3 years' time, Collingwood will have 7 players north of 32 years of age. In 3 years' time. In 10 years' time, we'll have a lot more.
Yeah, but you got to think.
Damn you, aging.
You got to think of who it is. You got Varco, who's not playing. You got Wells, who's not playing. You got David King, who's
Wells is already north of 32.
And I'm sure that's counted in David King's numbers.
From North. And apparently in those 3 years, we won't have any other players coming into the club.
No. We're going to stop. We're not bringing you.
And this is what I was saying. Like, you compare that to 2007, coming out of that season when Buckley retired and Clement retired and Lucuria retired, and you had all those sort of guys. Rocker was finishing up and all that. And I thought we were doomed coming out of 2007. Doomed. Yeah. Doomed. I thought we were doomed. Like, you had that really good core group who were going, and I thought, geez, you've replaced them with some good young kids like Brown Reed. Pendlebury, Daisy when he was good before he turned to evil, and Beams and Sidey came in and all that, and it shows you can actually just really replace talent well if you choose well. He rated more to go in Steph, but said they needed to come up, and this is obviously written before two of those guys have really stepped up.
One stepped out.
Yeah, Carlton has 25 players under 23 years of age. Collingwood has 18.
But they've got to be good.
Yeah, well,
who cares how young they are if they're no good?
Well, I've said this before, I believe, but we should get a couple of 10-year-olds on the list just to drag our average age down.
Buckley's kids, we'll put them on the list just for that. They're in the rookie list.
We should put them on the list. Jumper clashes. Anyone have a problem with the jump clashes?
I say no.
No, I wore the right one.
I actually had a problem sometimes from behind. There was one time Mayercheck actually handballed someone in front of him. I think it was Trelaw, but there was a Carlton player right on him also. And I just reckon he looked up, saw the two dark backs with the white number, and he went for it. Eddie Maguire says
maybe it was just a shit handball.
There's a good chance for that too. Eddie Maguire says he's going to work on a new jump for the clash. He wants Carlton with the traditional navy blue ones, Collingwood wear black and white stripes.
I saw him working feverishly with the Crowlers at half time. It's looking a fucking beauty. He was doing this.
I believe it was the Etcher sketch. Steve Quartermain. Does everyone remember Steve Quartermain?
No.
I'll throw it to the crowd. Do you remember Steve Quartermain?
He's unemployed. He lost his job because he's shit.
I saw on Twitter that he said the goalie should just take the money, take the best deal. And
Quartermain should take the money.
I think he was paraphrasing himself there.
I wonder if he'd say this about a Hawthorn player. Sicily should Sicily take the money.
Absolutely not.
No. Why? Does he have a posh British accent?
Yeah, because I chose for that moment to give him one.
Let me throw this question to you: is Nathan Buckley cursed?
Absolutely.
No.
I'm going to have to fight him.
Why don't you curse him?
No, I think there is no endless supply of little dolls with pins in it and crushed chicken bones in a bag thrown at him, but he is cursed. I think we had that period there where we had 4 weeks of no injuries. It was then just a building up for the big one.
So do you think the Collywobbles have come out of the Victoria Park?
Got to get to the final.
Collywobbles never gone away. Never. They're always.
We have won premierships though.
I see them all the time laughing at me.
I actually remember in '91 when we started that season really poorly, we had the hangover. It was actually in the Truth newspaper. There was this cartoon. Because remember they actually had that ceremony where they buried the Collywobbles Vic Park, and they had this cartoon of an open grave and footsteps walking away, and the tombstone said Collywobbles. And I think the dialogue was something like, we didn't bury him deep enough or something. So they're out. Anyway, that's it for Media Mephitic. We'll be right back with the issue of the week.
I cannot wait.
So here we are with the issue of the week. Now this actually doesn't come from the Collingwood game, but we'll segue into the Collingwood game. I was watching North Melbourne Bulldogs. Somehow I don't know why.
I think you turned the TV on and picked the channel.
I don't know why I picked that channel.
It was a close game.
It was a close game. And James Brayshaw complained at the beginning that there was too many free kicks being given.
Too many notes. There was too many notes.
But like that sort of flabbergasted me. It's like there's, as Mozart said in Amadeus, you know, there are as many notes as I need, no more, no less. And that's like you pay...
Sage words from the maestro.
Yeah. And,
unlike Brayshaw.
Yep. But surely you just pay the frees that are there, whether it's 5 free kicks in the game or 100 free kicks. You just pay what's there.
I think they don't pay enough free kicks personally. Because I see a lot more than the umps see about what should be a free kick or not.
It shoots me that you have this qualification on free kicks of, you know, take a brave umpire to pay that. Oh, good, they're letting the game go. You know, usually that's in the second half, not in the first half. Or, you know, oh, you got to pay that or don't pay that for the theatricality of it. I remember in the...
Spirit of the game.
I think it was the 2012 prelim against Sydney where Leroy Jetta ran like 150 metres and bounced it once. And
that was his first step.
Yeah. and Bruce McAvaney goes, oh, it's good for the theatre. It's like, there should be no qualification on the free kick. A free kick is a free kick. Doesn't matter about the context of the fucking game. If it's there, you pay it.
The issue with this is they don't pay free kicks. Then they got to change the rules of the game because they don't like the way the game ends up being because they don't pay free kicks.
Yeah.
And they're going to make up another stupid rule with another stupid free kick to pay that free kick to fuck up the fact that they didn't pay the original free kick in the first place. Pay the free!
Just pay what...
Pay the free!
Every time, 100% of the time, it should be paid. And that is a ridiculous comment from Brayshaw because, you know what, again, you pay what's there. It's not, oh, they're paying too many now. So what, like fucking... And that's where, you know, you get the people saying, oh, it's good they're letting it go. I hate when I hear that. It's like, oh, so for 2 quarters, that was holding the ball, but in the last quarter and last 10 minutes, we're not paying that. We're just letting it go.
And that whole
now.
under the knees stupid free kick...
Well, we copped another one of those.
That's around there. Just dumb. Just pay it if it's there.
And this is having to segue into our game. At halftime, we had that ugly melee started by Hale Thomas.
That was a cool melee. I actually liked the melee.
And
bit of argy-bargy.
Yeah, a bit of argy-bargy. It was good. Bit of
how's your father?
Yeah, a bit of buffet.
And a knuckle sandwich.
And this is where we get some of the bias. Anthony Hudson's going, they should pay a free kick.
The game.
And who said you actually can't because the siren's gone?
Yeah,
someone said that.
No. Nick Rewalt goes...
Well, maybe it was Nick Rewalt.
No.
Yeah. He said, you actually can't pay a free kick. The siren's gone.
No. He actually said, what good's it going to do? The siren's gone.
Oh, I thought he said you can't pay it because the siren's gone.
No, he was actually saying, oh, you know, what good's it going to do? And then, you know, Gary Lyon would just go, just let it go. The umpire should just clear out and let it go. And then Nick Rewalt goes, oh, you know, well, you can't pay a free. What good's it going to do? And then Gary Lyon goes, oh, well, they should do what Hutto said and pay a free. And it's like, all right, so you pay a free kick to Collingwood on their half back. What the fuck is that going to do?
You can't pay a free kick. The siren's gone. You actually can't pay a free kick.
Well, you can't.
Well, how can you pay a free... That's what paying a free kick before the first siren... You can't pay a free kick after the siren's done.
No, you can technically. Because if it's a defence, it's an offence. And this is like Brian Taylor...
Where's the offence? No, you report them it's an offence, or you do something... You can't pay
Brian
a free
Taylor
kick
said this last week. I can't remember which game it was, but someone... Like, the ball went out, and the player chasing, you know, the ball went out, and then he got hit in the head. And Brian Taylor's going, well, it can't be a free because the ball's out of bounds. It's like, well, yes, it can be a free.
No, that's different. You're still playing the game. Once it's over and you're brawling for half a minute, you can't just say, oh, now it's a free kick, you're going to pay it.
But the thing is, what these two guys were saying, Hudson and
stupid.
And Lyon, no, but what they are actually saying is pay Carlton the free kick.
Yeah.
And they'll have a shot at goal, and that'll break it all up.
That'll fix it.
Because Collingwood players will run back to defend and all that sort of shit. And it's like, well, why should it be... I mean, Dale Thomas started that, you know... So why should Collingwood players get penalised? And again, it was that fucking sickening bias. Look, I don't mind if they actually do something like where they go, you know what? Next quarter, this is the beginning of the third quarter, the team we're paying the free kick to will just start with a kick from the centre. That's it. I don't mind if they do something like that.
They actually have a rule about that, and you fine a player. So you can't just say, I'm going to pay a free kick and then we'll fine the player $1,500.
Ah, you can do anything.
No, well, you can, but the rules are not there for that.
I'm saying I don't mind if they actually pay a free for the next quarter and just say you're starting with the ball.
You got ways to handle that.
No. I'm sick of hearing this. Yeah. What do you got?
Anyway, that's it for the issue. Unless you have any more thoughts on that.
I should have paid a free kick.
Thanks, Gary. Alright, we'll be back with the match preview against the might of the Gold Coast.
Oh, I'm a quiver.
Suns. You're a quiver.
I'm a quiver. Put some arrows in me.
So welcome back for the match preview. Gold Coast versus Collingwood.
The old grudge match.
Yes. Traditional rivals.
Yeah.
There's usually more Collingwood supporters at this game at the Gold Coast than there is Gold Coast supporters.
Pretty much every game of Gold Coast, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I say. There's more Collingwood supporters.
There's more attendance at the ground than there are Gold Coast supporters.
So I looked up the ladder. We're one game behind first. Richmond plays Sydney, so they're 2 teams above us. So one of them, if we win, will be...
Are they on the same points? So they both one game ahead
of us? They both one game ahead of us. And West Coast play Adelaide, so West Coast you think would win, but Adelaide's obviously still a chance. So if results fell our way and we won by enough, we could actually jump to second position.
Pretty exciting.
If we win, we should be able to jump again by enough. We should
about 5%.
We should be able, we should be able to jump to third position and lose.
Which is doable.
Yeah, it's doable.
If Sydney gets spanked by the Tigers, I think they're about 4 or 5%.
And we have a decent win.
Yep. All right. So now we come to the elephant in the room. He's over there.
Where is he?
Treloar. So at the time of recording this, there's reports that he's done both hamstrings. In the history of the game, never has a player done 2 hamstrings.
Another Collingwood first.
Well,
put that in the record books.
And he's apparently torn one from the bone, allegedly. So for me, that's a massive loss. I actually think he's been
huge.
Our best midfielder the whole year. He's the guy not getting the credit that he deserves. Like, people have been going to Pendles and the side bottom and to the Goey when he's been in there. I think Treloar's consistently been the best midfielder there. He's got that breakaway.
Are you still saying Pendlebury's not an A grade? Is that what you're still saying?
I was drunk.
Why don't you? I actually think that's a massive loss, and to lose Treloar for potentially the whole year,
it's huge.
I actually think now Collingwood's under threat of just sort of really losing that top 8 position. I actually like going into this Carlton game. I was thinking if we win this, then we win the Gold Coast, and we come out without any injuries. And you get Elliott back and Moore back and all that sort of guys. You get them back for the 2 weeks that they'll play before they break down. I thought, we're actually a premiership threat because it's such a... The standard of the season isn't where you get some dominant powerhouse like Collingwood.
It's like the last couple of years, the same thing. Doggies and Richmond.
So if you ended up with a top 4, and it's a bit like 2002 when we finished 4th, we played Port, we won against all odds, but because we won, that actually flipped the fixture, so we actually then got a prelim final in Melbourne. And if you look at potentially the way the top 4 is now, we could have got a prelim against West Coast of Sydney at the MCG, which would have been huge. Actually, that Treloar loss really terrifies me for what it'll do to the team.
There's just no one that can step in and fill that void, and that's the concern.
Yeah, no, there isn't. The Go is the only one that has the potential, but he needs to step up another level and be more consistent.
And the Go one works beautifully if you can throw him in the midfield and he will do well there, but to fill his role,
forward line,
we need Elliott to come in and
that's what you need. You need the forward filler.
Yeah, you need something of equal quality to replace what we've lost.
And this is why I really highly rate Treloar. Like before, I was saying when it's your turn to go, you need to go. Treloar did that. The guy who ran into a goal from about 50, but he went for a pass. Thomas did that also. Treloar just said, "No, I'm going for the shot," and he set himself and he kicked that goal. It was a vital goal. When he actually did both hamstrings, it was because again he was taking the game on. He was trying to break away and get the ball clear. He is so vital to the chemistry of that midfield. I actually really worry about how that midfield will respond against... I'm not worried against Gold Coast, but against the better teams that we've got coming up, like West Coast and Sydney. I really worry about that loss.
The structure of how we work now is working with all those components in it. I think he is the one big cog that's going to come out, and we're going to have to rejig the side again. And now you feel nervous about how that rejigging is going to look and how it's going to function.
So, I would possibly look at, and it worries me a bit because he doesn't really feature in the VFL best, is Sam Murray trying to bring him back up and pushing Maynard up onto a wing because Maynard has that breakaway pace, he has that sort of that audacity. The other one's Chris, but Chris has just been so good down back. So I'm not saying Maynard has, but Chris really sort of has been, again, another underrated cog of that defence because... Guys like Howe, and Scharenberg is coming up, get a bit more glory than Crispy. So I really struggle to think how are they going to replace Treloar. There's no one really in the reserves.
There's the burst. You can't replace that burst.
Probably just Sierra. I think Sierra is probably the hard outside type, exactly like...
never had a game. No, that guy.
I'm conscious. I think he'll get a shot at it. I think he'll probably get a shot this weekend, to be honest.
I reckon they'll put Wills in. But you need Elliott. You need Elliott back. You need the goalie to push
And Varco's another one
to
you
push
want back.
Yeah,
to push hard in the midfield
Varks
and to
is-
spend a lot more time in the midfield.
Varks' balsa wood hamstrings, the same as
but
Reed and Moore and stuff. You
Well,
can't.
that's the paper mache brigade.
If you want to take this to the point where you're going to contest finals, you want something that's going to be a guaranteed start as best you can, and you can't look at Varks or anyone like that and say.
Or Crocker kicked 5 in the reserves, but he kicked 3 in 1 quarter. Murphy, Tyler Brown probably still too early for them to come in. And I don't know what else they got there. It's a real shame that Kirby has the medical condition that he has, which they're not disclosing at the time, but he's out indefinitely. Because he could have been a good player to play up forward, and then he pushed to go into the middle. I just don't know who else they really got.
That's
there.
the only. You have to push the goalie in the middle. You just got to substitute it somehow in the forward line.
And I'm not trying to be cruel, but there's probably a couple players in the seniors at the moment who are just marking time. So now they're going to get a more extended stay. And
who are those people that are marking time?
Oh, well, okay. Chris Main, I think, is marking time.
He's done it right.
He's done it right.
Dacos is probably.
But Dacos isn't that midfield mix, so Main is on the wing.
Okay.
You know, and Greenwood's the other one. I actually think Greenwood's really struggled.
Yeah, no, he's struggling.
And I think you were saying that Spook, it's like they're inventing roles to try and keep him in. And I don't mind if they play him as a run with player, but he's missed the pre-season. He's missed
he's not fit enough
8 weeks. He's not yet. So, and I like Greenwood, but it's...
Yeah, I think they're struggling.
You got to play him to the... and he was concussed. You don't even know if he'll play this week.
He won't play this week. He'll be out. So I reckon they'll have to have 2 midfielders.
And who did that? Daisy Thomas? Fucking hell.
He's got a week for that, I think.
Yeah, he was off for a week.
Yeah. It's just the midfield run. Because basically the midfield run, put the youngster in the middle.
Who? Stevenson?
Yes.
I wouldn't risk him.
Put the youngster in the middle. Give him a little run here and there.
I wouldn't risk his physical frame.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. It's just a little run here.
He's got the pace, but
maybe on the wing rather than the middle, rather than in the heat. But push him up.
He's kicked 21-9. I'd leave him where he is.
Yeah, he's somewhat just because of
21-9 for a bloke who's never played up until 13 weeks ago.
Because it's his first season, and because he is still only about 42 kilos. I'd be right, and forward line is perfect for someone of that sort of build because you can come in and out of the game, you can scrum and all that. Not like the midfield where there's a lot of crash and bash. I mean, you look at someone like Cripps. Cripps was fantastic because when he first came in, he was already a really big guy. You know, same
like
wheels and size, same thing.
Or sire, or whatever.
Well, that's what Buckley calls it. I don't know who's got it right, but Stevenson, I just reckon just let him develop outside of that for the moment. I don't want to be putting too much pressure on him. You'd really hope the goalie steps up. But again, you look at that Melbourne game, the goalie was on fire, but you had Treloar in that midfield too. So you had a lot of components which were taking pressure off.
Adams needs to step up. He's been a bit poor since he's been back in.
I reckon he was good against Melbourne. He wasn't that great, but he wasn't the only one against Carlton.
Yeah, but he needs... Like, he was good in the half against Melbourne. I think it was the second half. I think he was pretty poor in the first half. He needs, like, where he should be at it since he's been back is not there. And I love it. He gives a lot of, he's a bit of a C word. But, he gives it, so I actually like him in there. It should be in there because he's a hard nut, but he just needs to step up a bit.
C word Caucasian? Why are you being racist?
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, I agree.
Classic.
I agree,
He's
but
a classic player.
With the injuries they've had, and because you got like the paper mache brigade out with Reed,
paper
Wells,
mache-itis.
Elliott,
Moore,
and Varco. There's really nothing in the reserves, and Blair's also now.
No, it's all the really inexperienced. Your Wills, your Sears, your these guys.
And none of those guys have tearaway pace. That Nathan Murphy,
Sam Murray has got the tearaway pace.
Well, again, that's where if you bring Murphy,
Murray though for whatever reason.
Yeah, he's out of favour.
Oh, and we know the reason, but he's not coming back in.
Well, it's a bit of a worry too that Murray's been dropped. He hasn't really got another peak. And I think he was named emergency a couple of times, but again, I think that was also.
I mean, the hand could be forced with him to come in this week as well. I mean, thinking goals, probably it's an opportune time when you're playing an average side to experiment a little bit. Because I think we should go in this as raging favourites. I think we'll consolidate around the loss of Treloar and Lift for this particular moment. So it is a good opportunity, I think.
Well, Treloar was averaging 31 possessions, so that's a lot of possessions to. And people go, "Well, his kicking's poor or whatever." But like those breakaway, the breakaway pace and kicking those goals, you just is such a...
Well, we're going to have two runners that need to be replaced. Trelaw's gone, and Greenwood, you think, is not going to get a run this week. So two midfielder type players are going to be...
Greenwood, like I said, I like him, but I would not be playing him in the seniors until he's sick because he's a run-with player, and he would have been the perfect guy for guys like, Cripps, and Selwood and all that sort of stuff. This, playing him off half-back is just folly for me.
No,
and I understand why you play him as defensive forward because he's actually done okay there, but geez, again, I reckon the best way of making a defender accountable is just kick some goals. And then the defender goes, well, I can't leave him because every time I leave him, he kicks goals. That's likely to happen with someone who's a specialist forward rather than a run-with midfielder who's being thrown up forward.
Right. Predictions. What do you think?
Yeah.
I reckon Collingwood win by about 7 goals.
Yeah, I reckon 5 goals. 5 goals for me. Comfortable win.
I'll say 96 points.
I think it could be struggle town though post this.
It'll be interesting. After this, we've got
Essendon.
I think we should still win Essendon because I think Essendon's just crap.
I don't know.
Are they are crap?
I know. Yeah.
No one. I don't know. I don't know what happened in the West Coast game. What happened in West Coast? Essendon's got no one.
I think the real Essendon's on 4 of the last 5. I think what's instructive is that one, they lost against Richmond, and Essendon were competitive for about a quarter and a half, and then just totally.
And it was after they played us when they just got pilloried that they actually have stepped up and they played crap.
Oh, but
they played.
I'm just sort of saying, if you look at Richmond, they applied the pressure. Essendon went to pieces, like Buddy. Essendon went to pieces,
and he was a rock.
So
how he came unglued.
I think we should still win against Essendon, but then you go. I don't know off the top of my head, but it's like West Coast at the MCG,
there's Richmond, there's Sydney. I think.
Yeah, West Coast, Richmond, Sydney. And
that's a tough little.
I'm saying Spook. Fuck it, I'll say it. I'll go on record. I mean, Richmond, congratulations for winning a flag, but geez, you lost by 10 goals to West Coast over there. You lost to Adelaide by 7 goals or something. You lost to Port by 3 goals or something. If you go back to the era like when we were on the flag, no one got anywhere close to us.
But this is the norm. This is normal. These are the things you have. You had Hawthorn, which is power. Geelong was a power. We were a power.
Hawthorn's a power.
This is what it should be. It should be more even.
But this is what I'm saying. There's a vulnerability there with Richmond, so that's not like the massive threat that I think it can be portrayed at.
No, everyone's a chance. You make the finals, you're a chance.
And you just, I don't know, take Rant out. Maybe like when you're on the boundary, you just sort of touch him on the shoulder, you take a dive into the defence and knock himself out.
Just send him to the World Cup.
Seriously, that dive against Essendon, that would have made Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder would have looked at it and said, "Here's my new Superman. This guy, he can fly. This man." Any final thoughts about the Gold Coast game?
No, just get up there and win, and let's the chips fall where it may after that.
I'm interested to see how they replace Trelaw, who they put in. Your Sears, your Wills, to see what they do.
Galucci,
yeah.
And
Marty Hall.
I think we'll still win by 7 goals.
Yep. And Tom Lynch, this is, you're an okay player, but this is when you'd be auditioning for us, so hopefully...
So kick 1 goal, 8.
Yes. Hopefully. Anyway, that's it from us at the Collingwood Rant. We'll be back next week. Hopefully after some big... Well, hopefully you'll never be back. Oh, sorry, did I say that loud? I thought I was just thinking it. Sorry.
I'm just sad now.
Just a girl who can't say no.
I know. I'm just sad.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll be back. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Subscribe here. Not Spook's crotch here. And if you like us, I think it's still here anyway. The thumbs up.
It's all down there.
And the 2 people who keep leaving dislikes, we know who you are. We can track IPs. We can release your names and addresses. So I would really stop disliking us. Okay? We know.
We don't.
We know everything. We know about the fucking cornflakes in the morning. Yeah.
We know who shot Kennedy.
He does. I don't want to die. He does. I actually do know who shot Kennedy. It was the gunman. Anyway, we'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.